Also in Los Angeles on a busy sports day in that great city out west, it's the Clips and the Warriors. And the Warriors are trailing by 7. Late second, Steph buries the 3. It's a 4-point game. Under 30 seconds to go. And off the steal, there's Kawhi. And the Clips take an 8-point lead into the locker room. Mid-third, Warriors down 8. Steph from Draymond. All 3 of these and one more. Those two, how often have they worked in tandem? Then it's Curry from 3. Again, 16 in the third. Warriors down 5. Curry, step back. Cash, out of his mind. But then, late third, right back at you. Nude at the top of the key. It's Benedict Mathurin. Clips back up by 6. Story of the fourth? Well, there are a lot of them, including the vet in the corner, ready to catch and shoot. Who's that? That's Al Horford. How about 4 triples in the third? It's a 5-point game. A great find in the corner, and then watch Al replace the man that just caught the pass. That's Santos back to Horford. Another 3. It's a 2-point game. 3 is the deficit. Santos down the lane, and it's a 1-point game. Under 3 to go. Warriors trailing by 1. Check that, up 2. It's Horford again. And now the Golden State lead is 2. It's a tie game. Curry. Unbelievable. How often have we seen this man refuse to go away? Greatest shooter who's ever lived. And he buries that one when the Warriors had to have it. Jimmy Butler can't do anything but smile. Off the inbound, there's the steal. It's Draymond. Pajetsky the other way, and it's a bucket good. What a great play. Not just the deflection, but the deflection to his man, Pajetsky on the loose. With the goaltend, now it's a 6-point deficit. Kawhi Leonard had just 2 points in the fourth, and it's Draymond again with the steal. Don't need points. The clock is the opponent at this point, and Golden State, so many storylines as they will live to play again. Here's Steph.
I know I was only out for 2 months, but it was a difficult 2 months because I didn't know on a day-to-day how I was going to feel. I thought I was going to be out for 4 days. Rick Celebrini, all the doctors that have helped kind of get me through this last 2 months, I appreciate all the work because there's a lot of hours. And then I just love to play basketball. When I'm out here and able to do what I get to do, I'm blessed.
You said you wanted to be a part of meaningful basketball. You got a matchup with the Suns on Friday for a trip to the playoffs. What's it going to take?
The same resiliency. Coach talked about it in the locker room before. These win or go home scenarios, we think we know the team, but you got to be able to withstand the runs and stay in it emotionally. It was 12, 4, 8, 2, 10. Like it was back and forth the whole game. And then we got over the hump the last 3 minutes. So stick with it. No, it's not going to be perfect, but just try to find a way to win.
Brian Windhorst joins us now. And Brian, Steve Kerr back early in this season called this team a fading dynasty, but they refused to go quietly into the evening. What a fourth quarter. As I said during the highlight, there's so much there. Whether it's Horford, whether it's Draymond, whether it's Steph, the floor is yours. Where would you like to start?
Yeah, one of the things that I've had a chance to learn over 2+ decades covering the NBA is that, they get older, but champions never disappear. And, you can say whatever you want about it being a play-in game. The Warriors don't know how much longer they have together, so they played this the best they can, and their champions all showed up. Of course, Curry, my God, the three-pointer on the replays. I was watching, Scott, I was watching the Clipper bench. When you watch the replays, watch the eyes on the Clipper bench, because they saw it in the air and they knew it was going to happen. Yeah, Draymond Green, a vintage performance, not only with the defensive end, just shutting Kawhi Leonard down. By the way, Kawhi Leonard is going through one of the hottest stretches of his career. The guy has, I don't even remember how many 20-point games in a row, 50, 60. He needed a meaningless layup, at the end of the game to keep it going. That was because of Draymond Green and not only making those awesome defensive plays, but just shutting him down the whole fourth quarter. And by the way, it was his two-man game with Steph that, unlocked them. But not just Draymond and Steph. Al Horford, again, multi-time deep runs in the playoffs, a champion, showing up when it mattered. He doesn't know. This could have been his last game for all we know. Kristaps Porzingis, I know he came out, but he got them back in the game. That's another champion. It just showed up here. And I don't want to overstate a play-in game in a 9-10 situation, but you could feel how important this was to the Warriors. They answered it, and they get to play again on Friday. And I would say to the Suns, and I'd say to anybody that's a chance to watch the champions go. I don't know how it's going to end, but I know they're going to go out trying to play like that.
Yeah, I got to put my hand up here and say, as we were watching upstairs earlier and the Clips took about a 9, maybe it was an 11-point lead, I said, this feels done. And my guy, Stanford Steve, said, no, they got another run in him. And that's on me for neglecting to acknowledge what you just talked about, just the pedigree, the DNA of champions. You mentioned Kawhi. He's been spectacular this year. And I get the Draymond piece, but for him to be invisible as this game's slipping away, I just don't get it. What do you make of that?
Draymond was just all over him. And I guess if you go back and watch the film, there are probably moments where Kawhi could have put himself in a better position or shown more aggression. He was playing a fine game. The first half, he was excellent. The second half, he started to fade. In the fourth quarter, he couldn't get away from Draymond. Draymond was fighting through screens. Even when he got screened off, he would come back onto him. And then the last two vital possessions of the game, Draymond just decided Kawhi wasn't getting the ball. And this is one of the strongest players in the league, and Draymond just decided, you're not going to get the ball, sir. And so, it's just, and really some of it's on Kawhi, obviously, because he can't put himself in the position where he's standing alongside the sideline like he's, in second grade just learning how to get a ball in bounds. But Draymond can get in your head. He was obviously worried about getting in against Draymond. And this is a totally fitting end to this Clippers season. It has been a complete disappointment. There has been this scandal hanging over the horizon. At the midseason, I know that they went to get younger. They could say that Garland was for the future and the Zubac for the draft picks. Those may end up being good deals, but it was a vote that they didn't believe in this team. And so the fact that they go home now just sort of fits into the way that this season goes. And by the way, they may not have popped champagne, but they cracked a beer in Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City has their draft pick, and that pick will be now no worse than 12th. And they drafted Jalen Williams, number 12, with the Clippers pick, and now they're going to get another lottery pick because they're still paying off the Kawhi Leonard trade.
Rich get richer. All right, on the way out, let's sprinkle some sugar on that and let that Clippers ship sail. Your favorite thing about watching Stephen Curry play in a situation like this with the season on the line, what is it?
You know the last time he played 36 minutes, Scott? He played 36 minutes Christmas week, okay? He doesn't know how much time he's got left. And as I'm watching him hunt those threes, I will always remember this because one of the most memorable basketball moments of my life, being in that arena in Paris in the summer of 2024, when I don't even know if he even saw the rim on some of those shots where he threw them in. And he was looking for that shot. He was looking for that dagger. He got it. I don't know how many more he's got in him, but I know I enjoyed watching him get it tonight.
What a trip Philadelphia tonight. Second quarter as they host Orlando. The one-point game is Tyrese Maxey. Has the ball in his hands, creates a bit of space, and that's 3. Sixers lead by 4. Speaking of 3, Desmond Bane, one of the great shooters in the game. That's a 2. He had 19 in the first half. We're tied at 48. DJ Edgecombe has been spectacular from the jump. I don't know what that is, spinning, dribbling a little bit. Sixers lead by 4. They're up 7 into the third. Maxey. Float game. It is that. Sixers up 9. Less than 30 seconds later, Paolo Banchero with a turnover. Edgecombe with a bucket, and then he and Jalen Suggs, they get a little bit close, and Kelly Oubre and Bane have a little chit-chat. Things get a little bit chilly. But there was not a fight No point tonight. Bain. Yeah, that's a floater of sorts. Bucket +1. Magic down 5 heading into the final dozen minutes. Philly grabs control there. 3-point game. Fancy footwork from Maxey leads to a 3. They double their lead. Then it's Maxey again, floater. The lead's 8. Bain had 34. He gets a clean look and cuts the deficit to 5, but Maxey had 31. And here, off the screen with a left off the glass, that's a gorgeous shot. Magic down 7, and Suggs on the drive. It's kicked by Maxey, doing it on both ends. Defensive efforts is just want to, isn't it, Steve?
Yep, effort.
Just try. Some have said. You said, oh, go ahead, big fella. Andre Drummond hits the 3, and everybody's going wild. The answer loves that. Here's Maxey on moving on.
We play hard as hell, man. If you want me to be honest with you, man. Everybody who stepped on the floor contributed tonight. Shout out to Drum, Q, Mona, all those guys played really hard. And honestly, man, I'm just so happy because, like, a lot of these guys ain't been to the playoffs before. And I told him at the beginning of the year, I don't care what it takes. We going to the playoffs. I told Kyle that it's the last, he owed us. Heck, so I wanted to make sure I got into the playoffs.
And they did qualify for the playoffs, where they'll face Boston in the first round. They're significant underdogs in Game 1. C's heavy favorite at -900 for the series. Boston's won each of the last 6 playoff series between these teams. The old heads go back to the day, 70s and 80s. As for the present, Paolo Banchero had this to say about a win or go home game against the Hornets on Friday.
Yeah, they're been playing really well. You know, they've kicked our ass this year. So we got to be ready. I got to be ready. And, we have to be locked in from the jump. I thought we played hard tonight, but it wasn't enough. And so it's going to take, even more of an effort. And it's going to take, me playing better as well, for us to get the win. So it's definitely a big game on Friday.
Joined by Brian Windhorst. Wendy, the fans in Philadelphia were chanting, "We want Boston," which is convenient because they're going to get them. Your initial thought on what that series might look like?
Well, Boston comes into the postseason in about as good of a position as they ever could have dreamed. They've played terrific basketball down the stretch. Their role players gained a lot of confidence even after Jason Tatum came back healthy. When Tatum and Brown have been out there together, they've been very hard to beat. I don't think there's anybody. I don't think they have 4 losses together since they've been out there, much less 4 in 7 games. And Philadelphia is probably not going to have Joel Embiid for this series. He's coming off abdominal surgery. We need a ramp-up period. I can't see 15 days into the future, but I don't think you're going to get full-power Joel Embiid, which I think you would need. I think Philly is dangerous because they've got some real talent, and VJ Edgecombe showed tonight that he is not afraid of the moment. But Boston is the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, and I think they're more focused on themselves than their first-round opponent, honestly.
Team that loses on Wednesday evening is the Magic. They'll take on the Hornets, who will have LaMelo Ball. Shams Charania, you're reporting that he will be fined but not suspended for that trip of Bam Adebayo. What's your reaction to that, Brian?
So this is a pretty rare situation, Scott. First off, a retroactive flagrant 2 foul. I mean, it's happened before in the playoffs. In fact, like 15 years ago, LeBron James got issued a retroactive flagrant 2 foul. But it is an unusual thing, and it is an unusual thing to come without a suspension. The league did interview LaMelo today as a part of their investigation. I don't know what he said in the interview. I hope it was a better answer than he had on the podium last night. What was working against him here was that he's got several other instances, both this season and in the past, where he's done this exact same thing, where he appears to have been frustrated he didn't get a foul called, and he tripped the player that he thought fouled him. It happened against Bam Adebayo a couple of years ago. So the league was aware of those replays and still, I think, decided not to do this. Now, it still is a significant penalty. A flagrant 2 is a significant penalty, but it's completely unsatisfying when you know that the correct call would have been to have him ejected, and the player who he fouled is out for the game, and he is not facing any discipline beyond this. I would say this. he should consider himself on double secret probation going forward. Anything else that is a borderline, I don't think the league is going to look kindly on it. That is no solace right now, however, to the Miami Heat.
Yeah, that's really well said. If I'm the Heat, I'm still livid because, not only was he not kicked out, but you lost your most impactful player in Bam Adebayo on that play. And I get the NBA doesn't want to have Charlotte absent a superstar in a game for its playoff life. I get that. But Miami's looking in the mirror going, hey, like, what about us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so my situation is I don't think a suspension was really just for that. But the fact that nothing happened in the game went to overtime, and I'm not saying 2 free throws in the second quarter would have made a difference, but when the game goes to overtime and your potential future Hall of Fame player is not in the game, and there was nothing called. It's one thing if they call a foul and then it gets upgraded later. We've also seen this where it's been upgraded later. There was no foul at all, no free throws. So I feel for Miami, but I'd have been arguing against a suspension if it had gone the other way, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to talk out both sides of my mouth because I tend to feel the same. I just feel like Miami gets nothing out of this, and they got to watch, the Hornets play a game that perhaps they could have been in had Bam played. Nothing we can do about it at this point. Brian Windhorst, I appreciate the time as always.
That's show business, as they say.